attend live. So we have a very special company today. As I said, when I've heard about the company the first time, I thought that was some sort of a practical trend. There was this movie I watched a few years ago called The Smell of Success, and it was about a company that was specializing in basically exotic poops. And so I thought Leilani, our professor who put us in touch with the company, was trying to make fun of me. But then I did research. We met with had a phone conversation with the company owner, Mary Forte. And yes, it is a real viable company with a very dedicated consumer base. It's a unique product, and I really love it. It's not only a product that allows the company to make a good living, but also it's one that's good for your garden for the environment. So I think it's a company that does well by doing good. And so I don't know much about it yet, so I'm really curious and eager to learn more. And so I guess that's our opportunity here. So Mary, we will turn it to you now. So if you can tell us a little bit more about the company, the history of the product, how it came about, maybe challenges you face, and then we'll move on with the questions and answers.
Okay, first I would like to thank you for choosing my company. And I'm really excited to be working with all the students and you. And I would have to say that I think I really am my company, as great as it is going to be a challenge, no question. And it's going to put every student, this is not a regular product. This is a product that is innovative. It's, in a way, revolutionary. In another way, it goes back to nature is what it is. So it's really revolutionary only because there's so many chemicals in between.
Right.
So we're trying to, about 4 years ago, I'm the chairman of the horticulture class at our local Upperville Garden Club. And I am competitive, and I wanted to make my flowers and vegetables better. So at that time, I went to a meeting where they first discussed mycorrhizal fungi. And I said, what in God's name is that? But at that point, I have already used just alpaca manure to make this wonderful product which makes grass grow wherever alpacas poop. But I also do all the reading of the fecals. And I know if you do not compost things properly, you're putting the public at risk. So, bottom line, I compost it properly using an O2 compost system which was designed for my use, forcing the air in, cooking it so that the anaerobic, the ones that don't like oxygen, are killed, and the aerobic bacteria bloom and blossom, and they have sex and enjoy themselves in my compost pile. So each little bacteria, think of as a little fertilizer pack. When it dies or it has babies, goes on. Okay, so then I add the mycorrhizal fungi to it, which forms a symbiotic relationship with a root. Everybody who knows anything knows about this, except no consumers know about mycorrhizal fungi. But that's part of my formula. The third part, because manure, sorry guys, wants to float. It just wants to float. It doesn't want to break down. So I pulverize the manure. I add yucca, which is a water surfactant. Also, it's a complex carbohydrate that the bacteria like to eat. So here you take a wonderful plant. I call them leafy pets. Think of it as leafy pets, guys. It's a new way to looking at another form of life. It's your leafy pet. You take this beautiful thing, it's in a pot, totally unnatural, in a pot. It wasn't made to be in a pot. It's made to be outside, okay? So here we have an unnatural setting for a very natural for a natural plant. So my product, you take it and you feed as you water. Simple, simple, simple. Now, okay, here's another thing you need to know. People don't like, am I allowed to curse? It's not really cursing. Can I say something? Nobody likes shit.
Sure, please go ahead. We are an open organization.
Yeah, okay, well, if you haven't heard what that meant, you'll now know. Okay, so what I do is, because I wanted to go into suspension, it will not dissolve. I wanted to get into the water. So I grind it, but it makes it very dusty. So what I do is I package it in something called polyvinyl alcohol, PVA. It really starts with ethylene, which is formed by a plant that ripens fruits and things like that. But because it is not organic, only the inside product is organic 100%. The rest of it's up in the air. It's biodegradable, and you can drink it, and they're packaging coffee in it now, but it is not listed as organic, okay? All right, so the inside is all organic, all 3 ingredients, which brings us to a very interesting point, by the way. The interesting point is that there are a couple of different markets here that I came up with. Well, I didn't come up with. An arborist who injects tree roots with chemicals said, oh my gosh, make it for me without the packaging, get it certified organic, which is no problem, get it certified organic, and just sell it to me in a regular plastic bag. He wasn't sure he liked the name poop, by the way. But anyway, so he could put it in a 100-gallon tank and inject trees with an organic, which will really help it, as opposed to injecting with chemicals to give it a spurt. So 4 years ago, I started this. I've got about $200,000 into it, which means I am pretty much flattened out financially at this point. I have approximately 4,500 25 units with bags. I have the whole package, 25 pods in a beautiful cotton bag, which I had made in China, by the way. I have them all ready to go. Now, I have it. There's only me. That's a problem. And you now. Perfect. I have it in True Value store, which is a hardware store, carries paints, hardware, fertilizers like crazy. Slow to sell, except if I start explaining it. And when I explain it, it doesn't seem to have a problem with the price of $34.95 a bag. They don't seem to have a problem. They have a problem. The consumer has a problem. What in God's name is this?
What is this? Yeah.
In a pod? It's manure in a pod? Yeah. And so at one point there was an agency who developed those little cartoon characters I showed you? Do you recall?
Yeah.
Little cartoon, because they thought, and I think it's kind of cool, because we're discussing poop, right? And they thought it would be kind of cool to have it as a cartoon character presenting all of this. It makes it more, so to speak, palatable to a person who doesn't think I'm a porn site, you see?
Yeah. So how exactly does it work? So you have your own llamas, right? Alpacas. And so they just wander around, and then the poop is collected and then processed in some special way. And then it's packaged and shipped off to stores to be sold, right? Is that how it works, or what's the process?
Well, at this point, okay, the process is we carefully collect the manure. I don't pick up stones and, now and then maybe a little hay will get in there, but we're very careful with that. Then I put it in the special bins, and then once it reaches 4 feet high, and the bins are about 6 feet by 9 feet deep, and once it reaches 4 feet high, it sort of self-insulates. Mm-hmm. By the way, as part of what I do privately is we add a little sugar to it. Uh-huh. It starts the heat process, the thermophilic reaction, pretty quickly. Like in a day or two, I could be up to 140, 150 degrees. So I don't want it to go over 155 degrees because I don't want to kill off all the good stuff. I just want to kill the bad stuff. Okay, so that has to be between, according to FDA, it has to be between 131 and 155 for 3 days. Mine cooks about 5, 6, 7 days. And then I keep pumping and forcing air through it. So it's drying, dry, because remember, I have to package it in something that is water soluble.
Yeah, and so the final product is basically like powder or like, it's dry, right?
Okay, because the way I'm composting it, a normal way to compost it is you put it in a pile and it'll cook itself and the rain will rain on it and all this, and it breaks down. Because it only takes me maybe 3 months, this is important, only 3 months to fully cook it to regulation. Mine does not really break down that much. I would say only about 30% of it goes into a powdery form. The rest just looks like beans that have been cooked is what it looks like. It's kind of gray, but very hard because it's dry. So I take it from Virginia. When I get about 6,000 pounds, I could actually do more. I have 4 bins. Each bin holds about 3,000 pounds. But the first run, I sent 6,000 pounds over to Chicago because they have something called a hammer mill. It's a machine that bam stuff. Initially, I sent it to New Jersey, where they grind things, and it because it's abrasive, it ground their machinery down, which was not a good thing. So I sent it to Chicago. We have a place there that will do that. Then another place in Chicago, I send it the finished pulverized product. Then I buy the mycorrhizal fungi, and I buy the yucca out of San Diego. The mycorrhizal fungi comes out of Oregon. I have them shipped to me, and it's blended at this other plant to my specifications. Then they also have the ability to package it into the pods. Mm-hmm. Now, one big problem financially is the minimum amount of pods they'll do, because this is all big equipment. There's only little me. 250,000 pods. 250,000 pods, that's just the pod, okay? That's 12.5 cents a piece. If I do 2 million pods, it comes down to maybe 4 cents a piece. Uh-huh. You see?
Right.
If I can do a lot, the price comes way down. I figure at this point, my total package of the bag from China, the 25 pods, is probably about $8. I think that's my cost. Mm-hmm. And that includes, room. There's room in there. But it's hard to figure because I have men having to go around picking up poop all day and putting it in things. So there's a lot of, so I figure $8. All right. And if you can figure I'm selling it at $34.95, and True Value and our local co-op and Meadows Farms, initially all they wanted was 20% off retail. So, I mean, now I'm doing 30% off retail just because I can.
Right.
You got to give the other guy room.
So do you have any competition, or who do you consider your competition? How does it, what's the industry like?
Very interesting. The competition is anybody selling anything to anybody who has a plant. And they say, oh, Miracle Grow, which will kill your plants, by the way. Miracle Grow is a competitor. Of course they are, because they have marketing, they are instant, they are a shot of heroin is what they are.
Right.
And you're not helping the roots, you're bypassing the natural way a plant works. The plant should be telling its roots, this is what I need for my stage of growth. Miracle Grow, you're deciding, hey, I want flowers, boom, and you give it this shot of heroin, all of a sudden you get this big old boom. But let me tell you something, you're hurting your plant.
Right.
And its roots are, and you're just disrupting the whole natural cycle of the plant. Whereas with mine, you allow the plant to think for itself.
Yeah. So who are your then end consumers? Are those individuals who just want to have a nice garden, or are those bigger companies? Who buys this stuff?
Well, I have to tell you, my marketing is me. You can see what you're dealing with. It's kind of sad, right? The people, True Value sells to people that go in and buy fertilizers or barbecue grills, or they like the packaging. They think it's cool for a gift. Same with the co-op and Meadows Farms, people who buy plants and they see this, even though they're not quite sure, they understand it, but it's a slow sale unless I can explain it. My marketing is nowhere, absolutely nowhere. I have a picture of a test I did of showing one bottle of roots and the other bottle of roots. So I think I sent those to you.
Yeah, you have actually a bunch of videos as well where you explain your product online. Yeah.
Say it again.
I saw also online on your YouTube channel, you have a bunch of videos where you talk about the product and explain. So I actually found them to be quite engaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is then the current distribution channel? So you mentioned that some of this is sold through the local hardware store. Do you also sell via Amazon or eBay or any other ways?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't sell it on Amazon because until people understand what I've got, why should they buy it?
Right.
They don't get it. Now, if they're not going to understand, why are they going to go there? And I tell you the truth, I tried crowdfunding with a Kickstarter, and my video was great, I think. Everybody liked my video, but I didn't make it because I didn't have, what do they say? You have to have at least 3,500 emails and a support base. And I don't have. I had like 700 people on my emails. And with crowdfunding is a very curious thing. And unless you have all of the steps in there, which is the biggest thing is emails and marketing. Well, let me tell you something. Computers to me, I mean, I'm here, okay, and I am on a computer, but I'm not a marketer. I'm a developer. I'm a herd developer. I'm a poop developer. I'm not, you can't do everything, and I've never known much about marketing. And social media would be fabulous, and I do have a Facebook site. I have a website. Keeping it up is something which is very difficult for me. Right. People are amazed at how it works, and then they'll reorder, and I do get some reorders from farm stores that will sell to people who want alpaca stuff. By the way, you should know that it takes an alpaca up to 62 hours to digest whatever it eats. And it doesn't eat meat, it eats grass and pasture land, and we give it a little grain. And the animal itself is frigging amazing. It's an amazing animal. It could be 100 degrees, and here's this animal with all his sweaters on it. Think of it like that. Lying in the sun like this, taking in the sun. It's the craziest animal. It's crazy.
Drew Bashan raised his hand, has a question. Drew, would you like to go ahead?
Yes. How would you feel about trying to use the social media more? But I see that you said that your YouTube video you get a lot of good responses from. How would you feel about using that across all of the platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and trying to branch out more to like Instagram, because they have marketing opportunities where you can pay for spots around like the local area, especially. You can pay for like spots so people will see it on their Instagram feed. But the issue that I see that a lot of at least for more of my demographic, the 2025, we want that information quickly. Like if you can boil it down to like, you can make it interesting in the first 10 seconds and then keep us around for 30 seconds. That's really the window that you're working with. In my opinion, it's not, a lot of people aren't going to spend 5-10 minutes spending time to watch the video. And that's, in my opinion, that's why I see a lot of people, a lot of companies and promotion groups draw back on. They have a good video, but I'm not sitting there for 5 minutes.
Right.
Great. Come up with something.
Yeah, so that's an opportunity for you guys, Drew and others. If you know how to do it better, that's exactly where we need your help. And yes, if you either see any problems with the existing promotion materials or you know how to do it better, I guess, yeah, just develop a strategy. We will definitely read your comments very attentively. I'm not sure if Mary, are you open to the idea of, if any of those proposals are really, really, really good, would you be open to the idea of partnering up with some of those students and kind of hiring them or having some sort of a partnership where they do the promotion and you provide the product?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because
you know, Instagram, what do I know? I know I'm the same way. I get 2,000 emails a day. All I do is go down the list and hit delete. You know?
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's fabulous.
Okay. This is my first time doing something like this, so I just wanted to get more of a gauge of where you are on what you're willing to accept from the groups and that type of understanding. Okay.
A few questions came about the geography of your business. Where mostly the customers are today, and I assume it's mainly in the United States, but do you have any international sales? And two, are you open to the idea of selling your product to other countries if there was a demand there?
Well, yeah, it's usually anywhere in this country. I mean, from California to Florida to Missouri, all over. I get people ordering through word of mouth. But to international, I think we lost Drew, but anyway.
Yeah, no, Drew, I changed the status back to that indeed, yeah.
There is a farm in Latvia that contacted me because they have alpacas. Now, they wanted to do something with me. I explained the formula to them, but you know what? I think it would be great to do some kind of a franchise. Mm-hmm. And I've spoken to alpaca people, because if we get enough business, there's no way that these people do nothing with their manure right now except sell it raw, which is not healthy. They would be perfect people to franchise with me, or certainly supply me with the manure that I needed to supply anybody. We got plenty of manure, and you know, these there certainly can be developed equipment if people wanted to grind their own. Then we would have mass marketing. We could get better pricing on mycorrhizal fungi, yucca, and all of that. You know how that goes. So we'd have mass marketing. All the costs would come down. I believe there are only 2 places in this country that do the poop pods, but you know, shipping for business is something that we'd have to deal with. But yeah, I'd love to do something over there. But until you have it set up. Right.
Well, there was a question actually from one of the students via email. So are you open to partnerships? If there are other enthusiasts around the world who have alpacas or other animals, you can pull resources, do
anything that makes sense. Anything that makes sense. Partnerships can be curious in that, you know, every human being has their own. I mean, I could say, boss, I want to be your partner because I think you're great. And you come with your whole own set of rules and all that.
Right, exactly.
All of that is difficult sometimes, you know, and contracts are as good as the people that you make them with. Otherwise, they're just paper.
Exactly.
So you have to super be vetted. You know, I think probably if it gets, the potential is big enough, then we can sell it to somebody like, there's a company out there called Epona, E-P-O-N-A, E-P-O-N-A, that talk about organic, and they have marketing, they have shelf space all over the place.
We have a question. Yeah, we have a question from Germany, from Francisca. Please go ahead, ask your question. You have a very good one.
Hello.
Hello.
Our question would be, how much are you able to increase your production? If we would suggest them higher.
If Germany wants to buy a lot of this stuff, will you be able to meet the demand?
Yeah. How could you increase at all?
Could I what?
Could you increase the supply? Would you be able to rev up your production?
Just like I said, first of all, there are plenty of alpacas in Germany. Did you know that? Yeah. So, why not even partner with somebody over there so we save on shipping? But over here I certainly could, because I have other people with herds to give me all the manure, or I could set it up for them, this compost system. We can get it ground, again, mass production, the price will come down, and I could ship it to Germany. Now, I don't know, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting you. So you would be you would like to increase the production?
Oh, well, sure, if there's a need, but to increase production before you have an order is cost prohibitive.
Right. There is another question related to that. What happens to the llamas themselves? I mean, are they used for anything else other than poop?
The alpaca.
Yeah, alpaca. So what the animals themselves? I mean, are they used for anything else, like milk or fur, or I don't know, or is it only poop for?
Oh no! Alpacas, number one, in my book, when they kiss your neck, it makes you tingle, and it's so cute. So they're a part of a lifestyle for me too. Remember, and they'll come running to you. But yes, they are used for their fiber. Alpaca suits for men are very expensive. Capes, all the fiber. I sell the fiber because I have a championship herd. But as is with life, the older the herd gets, the more coarse the fiber becomes. So I am now selling all the fiber I have to people who do things with it, like turn it into yarn. I sell it raw, but there's another example for you of what this alpaca does. And if I'm selling something for $20 a pound raw, they're going to be getting it. They're going to sell it for like $20 an ounce once they make it into a yarn. See, so there's a value added on every level with this animal. It is not used for milk. There's not enough milk, and you want the baby. And of course, the market, a breeding market, and if you have a good animal, you can sell it.
That's a good point. There is a question from Brazil, from Thais. Thais, I see you put several questions there, so if you want to unmute your microphone and ask them, we should be able to hear and see you. I'm not sure if you can talk. I've added him to the panel here. Meanwhile, there is a question about pricing. So how do you set your price? Have you considered offering some sort of a subscription model where customers can pay a monthly fee and receive automatic shipments every month? Do you offer discounts to repeat customers? So those are some of the questions we're receiving about your pricing model.
I would well, the price of $34.95 came out of my head only because I looked at what other people were charging, and chemicals are cheap. Organics are more expensive, and people, when they see something different, they didn't seem to mind. For a long time, I was saying, oh, this is a sale price of $29.99, right? So on the web, it's $34.95, but I include shipping, which is usually about $5. So it's about $30. So that's where they came from. market research. What was the rest of the question, please? I'm sorry.
If you offer any other pricing models where you can have maybe a subscription where customers pay a specific fee per month, but then get a shipment automatically?
Totally. I have thought of that. I actually know somebody who used to do that kind of thing with yarns and things. I think that would be great. Somebody signs up for quarterly or twice a year or something like that. I think it would be great. And then with each one of those, I could put like a little alpaca finger puppet, like Cracker Jacks used to have a little thing. I used to eat crazy like Cracker Jacks just to get a little plastic toy. So you could put little alpaca finger puppets in them, something like that. I think that would be great. I do not know how to set it up, but I think that would be great. Once a person understood what the product is and they could see the result, you don't want to water without this.
Yeah, we have a few more questions. I see a very good question from Nisliha. I've added you to the panel list if you would like to ask a question. And I see that Christian also raised his hand. So I'm adding you to the panelist list if you would like to ask a question. So Thais, Nisliha, if you guys want to go ahead with the questions, we are ready for you. Please just unmute your microphone. I think by default it's muted.
Okay, can I go?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking about the main cultures that respond better to the fertilizer.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What are the main
Hi, Mr. Bass.
What are the main cultures that respond better to the fertilizer?
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
The sound is so poor. Let's see one more time. So that's Thais. Is that you asking question, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
please, can you repeat it one more time? For some reason, we didn't hear it well.
I need to know what are the main cultures that respond better to the fertilizer.
Oh, what kind of plants you mean, right? What kind of?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
direct your marketing.
Yeah. Botanical
Oh
plants.
my gosh.
Yeah.
You won't believe it. You just won't believe it. It's a strange thing. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I've tried it on succulents. I've tried it on ferns. Orchids love it. And anything that's living, anything that would grow outside somewhere in the world, it works. Cactuses, cactuses. Who would have thought it? But vegetables, oh my God, instead of having a squash this big, it's this big. It's tell you the truth, it's weird. The plant wants to live. It really wants to live. What we as humans have to do is get out of its way. And we have to give it what it needs and let it decide whatever is in that fertilizer, whatever is biotin, maybe it wants calcium, maybe it wants this, let it tell its roots, hey, I need calcium today, give me my milk, right? And this mycorrhizal fungi, I tell you the truth, it goes out, it takes instructions from the plant itself, brings it to the plant, and the plant goes haywire. Oh, it's really amazing. I don't know one plant that won't benefit. Plants that don't bloom, they bloom. And my sister has a different way of using this product. Normally, I'll put the poop pod in the bucket and I'll wait for it to dissolve a little, but you got to beat it up because it needs to get beat up a little bit. You stir it, okay? And then I pour it on the thing and I let it drain because you don't want anything to rot. But what she does with orchids, which I wasn't any fan, I always killed orchids. Everybody kills orchids. So anyway, she puts it in a bucket, soaks it in the stuff, in the poop, for about 5 minutes, then brings it out, drains it, and that is it for the week until it's time to soak it again. That's it.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you. Christian, we see that you had a question. Please go ahead, Christian. Tell us where you are too, because we don't know. Curious what geography.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's great for
Do you
cats.
have an added value that gives you a difference in international market? You have an added value
Oh, so what is your added
From-
value? So
from-
how? Yeah. Okay.
from that
What
you
is it?
difference in the international market. Yeah. You understand
Mary,
me?
can you hear him? Sorry, because I think I lost the feed for a second.
Okay.
Please tell me what he.
Yeah, I lost Christian also for a second. I'm not sure if I fully understood his question, but the question was, Christian, can you try to repeat it? Because I've heard something about international market and then I lost you for a second.
You have an added value that gives you a difference in international market.
So basically, do you add any value beyond your competition, as I suppose that the customers in foreign markets may appreciate?
It really works. I mean, it really works. And remember, my thing can be used inside the house. In fact, that's how I developed it, really, to use inside your house. It's not like, I know a lot of people that take horse manure, put it in their garden, they got a million weeds, but stuff really grows because organics is the way to go. So all organics can work, but take a plant and put it in an unnatural environment, and let me tell you, this is the only way to go. So the value added is this works inside, and it doesn't, by the way, there's no smell. Zero smell. By the way, Colombia reminds me of marijuana, cannabis. And I am going to tell you, my nephew lives in Hawaii. He has he's an addiction counselor, by the way. He has his couple of seeds. He had 2 seeds. I said, oh, you've got to give it. I got to try it. Well, let me tell you, I ended up with one plant from one seed that started on my windowsill. This is something, I don't know if you know this, but bees go nuts for cannabis. My plant was 5 feet high, must be 5 feet wide. And I am telling you, the cannabis grew like, oh my God. And the bees were so in tune to the cannabis flower, I could put my hand in the bush and they wouldn't touch me. They only
Canada may be the market then. So BC, Kelowna. So apparently not only cannabis has been legalized there, but also it's a place where they grow it on an industrial scale. So I don't know. Maybe there is a market there. Ms. Liha, you had a question. Please go ahead. Unmute your microphone. So go ahead with your question, please. Thank you, Christian. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I would like to know how you are managing your orders right now, if you have a system, or how are you managing it?
So the business side, right? So how the orders are processed.
Yeah.
Inventory and
not
everything.
very well. I don't have a lot of orders by any means. As I said, down at the Upperville Garden Club, they say, okay, we'll take 60. So I brought in 60, they gave me money. Then I'll get via email through my website, somebody will want whatever they want, okay? And then I will personally go up to my barn and I will put it in a box and send it. That's how I do it. The Squarespace is what hosts my website. It goes through there into my bank account. I don't even really know how it happens, but that's what happens. And then when I get somebody reordering, my wholesale, I give wholesale if they order 20 units minimum. So then I'll package up 20 units, which is the way I have it boxed now anyway, so I wouldn't have to do that last minute, and I send it out. It's not like I'm loaded with orders. Mm-hmm. And I'm truthfully, guys, I'm a little tired because you can't do it all yourself, and I'm just being as honest as I can. because I think it's important to, you're dealing with somebody who's a little bit discouraged after the crowdfunding, the making the videos, the making the this, not knowing much about Instagram at all, or Facebook, or Twitter, or any of them. And the other gentleman, Brandon, maybe his name,
yeah.
Anyway, talking about 10 seconds. He's so right. I think he's right on target. 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there. A picture, forget anything, a picture. And I think that's, and as far as, I don't have a system, I don't have a I don't use Excel or things like that. I don't have to. I have a little book, I write it.
Again, I see an opportunity for the students to propose a good solution, and maybe even, I don't know, strike some sort of a deal where you may take on some of that. Yeah. I see more questions coming from Angus, from Joao, Paulo. So if you guys want to unmute your microphones and ask your questions, please go ahead. Good questions.
Okay, guys, are you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about your seasonality, because when you sell things to flowers, you might have some seasons that you sell more and months that you sell less. And I wanted to know about this.
Yeah, is that a seasonal product? That's a good question, yes.
No, isn't that a beautiful thing about it? Okay, let me put it to you this way. Let's say it turns winter where you are. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But let's say it's winter. Do you stop eating? I don't think so. Neither does the plant. It doesn't stop. It still has to live. It still has to have nourishment. It still has to it has to take in carbon dioxide from the air. It gives off oxygen into your room. It has to eat as well. My plants outside, because they are so inoculated, maybe I can cut. By the way, this is something that you don't know. This stuff works so well that after using it for about a year, you can just cut back. Maybe instead of 1 pod to a gallon, it's 1 pod to 2 gallons, because the mycorrhizal fungi has already set up its own network in there, and it's working. So you just need to boost it a little bit here, a little bit there. So a product that really works, like a good hip replacement, you're finished. You've done it once, it's right, and you go on with life. And it's the same thing with the plant. It doesn't stop eating, but it's better. It's better and better and better. And it is a long life. The plant doesn't die in a month or 2 months when you buy it at a nursery. Oh, this gorgeous plant, right? And then it starts proceeding to die as you water it. And you know what's really weird? They sell these orchids, and they say put an ice cube in it, and that's what you do once a week. You put an ice cube. Okay, you're giving it a little water, but let me tell you something. That's not going to make it flourish.
Right.
You've got to feed it.
Yeah. We are running out of time, but we have a few more questions. So I see here Emily, and I see Angus here. So guys, I'm not sure which one wants to go first. Please go ahead. Angus, let me unmute your microphone. I think we didn't hear you. Please go ahead.
So I was just wondering more on the product side. Sometimes fertilizers produce weeds because they've still got weed seeds within the fertilizer. So does your product do that? And also, I looked at your website. It looks really good, quite easy to use. So I think just an increase in web traffic should give you a boost in business sales.
Yeah, so one, does your product have weed seeds in it? And two, it seems like there is an opportunity to further increase traffic through your website. So
okay, I heard the first part. There are no weed seeds. First of all, the Alpaca does a job on any weed seeds that it ingests. It takes all the nutrition out of every single thing that goes into its body. Okay, so there aren't weed seeds there. If I picked any up in the pasture, it's gone in the composting. So there are no weed seeds at all. Okay, what was the second part of the question?
No, he just complimented you on your website, and apparently he sees an opportunity to promote or increase traffic through your website. So I assume, Angus, if you have any suggestions, that would be very welcome.
Well, what if they were allowed, the students are, you know, maybe vetted, were able to post to it and were able to have access to Facebook and Instagram and all that. What if you guys just went out there and...
Well, what we've had in the past, we had a few cases when students had such a good strategy, such good advice for some companies that literally the company said, why don't you have access to my Facebook account and try to promote it for a while and let's see what happens. And in a couple of cases, it went so much better that they were literally hired to do it now as part of the job. So let's see what kind of ideas they submit in a few weeks once they're done with the project. And if any of them show that they can do it well, I guess it would be a good opportunity to explore potential collaboration.
Yeah, and you can come to the farm and see the operation. You're invited.
Angus, where are you located? Are you far from Virginia?
Oh, not too far.
What country are you from? Where are
Australia.
you? Oh, Australia. Okay, that's a little more than a bus ride away. Australia.
Where?
Australia.
Where are you from? Australia. I love Australia. Oh my God. Crazy politics, but it's great.
All right. Emily, you had a question. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So if you're producing, I know you said a lot of it is for indoor fertilizing, but if you were going to fertilize a field, how many pods would that, like how many pods per acre kind of?
Oh, so if you go kind of industrial scale?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A man came up to me once and he said, there's a company called Chem Lawn where they spray your lawn with chemicals. Okay. He said, wouldn't it be great? And this gets back to what the arborist wanted, even though he was injecting it, is just packaging it in bags, forget the pods. And I have to say that right now, farmers in this country are starting to try to get away from chemicals. They're using something called no-till farming. And what that does, tilling the soil. They used to till the soil. That means cut up the soil. They were breaking up all the mycorrhizal fungi networks. And it was debilitating to the land. And they put chemicals on it. Now they're starting to put organics on it. This would be perfect for that. Oh boy, I don't know. That would take tons and tons and tons and tons of product. Right now, I think Mycorrhizal Applications is the name of a company in Oregon where I buy from. I think they're supplying organic people because they're realizing that this can go. But on a local company like a Chem Lawn, we could certainly supply it by the bag. It would be much less expensive because I don't have to pay for the pod.
Right.
The pod, putting the pod together.
It actually seems to me that there may be a good market at the industrial scale, so where you sell it not to individual homeowners who just want to put a little of that in a pot, but instead to larger farmers or maybe organic farmers. It seems to me that there may be lower cost and more market there. What do you think, Emily?
Yes, I definitely think that. I mean, I'm from Central Florida, so I'm from Citrus County, so we grow a lot of oranges.
Oh, where in Citrus County? I used to own the Crystal River, Three Sister Springs.
Really?
You ever heard?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I own it.
Small world.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of farmland there, and it's just I drive by it every day when I'm home, and there's so much land that if you can just produce it properly without all the chemicals, it seems like it would just be so much better for everyone.
Yeah.
And it seems like I see a rise in small organic local farms where people buy local and they wouldn't have a huge operation. It would be just a few acres of land. So it seems like that would be the size that you could serve. I mean, we're not talking about, huge farms with thousands of acres, but, smaller ones, a dozen acres specifically for the local communities. So if you students know of any of those, and if you want to go out and maybe talk to those farmers and see if they would be even interested, what would it take? Is it something that they need to be educated about or just informed? So yeah, that seems like an opportunity to me.
How about rooftop gardening like they
That's
do in the
another one,
cities
yeah.
now?
Becoming a big thing. Yeah.
Rooftop gardens. Okay.
Well, anyway, we're pretty much out of time. We have another webinar in 10 minutes, and I need to get ready for this one. If you have any more questions, and I see quite a few more coming by email, we will forward them to the company owner, and we will get the responses by email. So you know that we have a database of frequently asked questions, and since many questions arrive every day, but most of them are repetitive, what we do is instead of bothering the company owner each time there is a new question, if it's an old one, we just copy and paste the answer from the database. And if it's a brand new question that nobody asked before, then we would forward it to the company, but your questions will be answered. So just send an email and we will put you in touch with the company if needed. And yeah, so let's see how it goes. Very curious to see what ideas you will bring to the table.
This is
All
great,
right, well,
guys.
thank you so much, everyone. And we will be in touch. And then maybe we'll do another webinar towards the end of the semester. So let's see how it goes and if there is a need.
Emily, go kiss Humanity.
Yes.
It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.